This project is going to be so much fun to talk about. Check it out. I mean, you can customize it however you want by putting a message right here. You can put a name there or whatever. The lamppost is so cute. You got a snowman. You got presents back there. All kinds of fun ways to customize this. You are going to love it. So let's jump in and talk about how it goes together, and I'll give you a few tips along the way. Okay, let me start by pointing out a couple little details before we talk about how this goes together. Number one, all of the slots at the bases of all of these pieces are all exactly the same size. So that makes it really easy for you to be able to put the pieces in different places if you want, or even create pieces of your own if you want to put other elements in here. So for example, this tree could go on that side, or that tree could go in the back, or the snowman could be up front and center. You can move them around because everything is the same size. And if you've got a pretty good fit, then you could potentially not even use any glue. I don't have any glue on this one at all in terms of the bases. So theoretically, you could then switch out this year to year if you had a different date on there, if you wanted to put a different message on there. So that'd be really easy. So that's number one. The slots are all the same size. Number two, I used 1/8 inch MDF on this. So if you use that, you should be in good shape. Of course, you're always going to measure the slots and measure your material first and compare it here before you do anything else. Of course, you're going to cut a sample slot, right? Everybody always does that. Make sure you do that before you start cutting anything else. That way, everything will fit just fine. Now, one other note, a couple other notes I want to make before we jump into how to assemble this. I really liked the way that this MDF right here looks just with the burn marks on it. I didn't use any masking or anything, and it's just natural MDF, and I let it cut and leave the burns on there. It looks nice and natural. Did the same thing with the snowman's stick arms. That's just unmasked MDF, and I left the burn on there because I like the way that looks. Also, on this particular one that I made, I used what's called a product called Pattern Ply from Casey Cruz over at Smoky Hill Designs, and I bought a couple sheets of white from him that doesn't have any pattern on it. It's just white, and that way I didn't have to paint anything. Now, it is more expensive, but in this case, I liked it because I didn't have to paint the base here or the snowman or the back piece of the lamp here. I did paint another set that I did, but it was just nice to be able to do it quickly and to look really crisp and clean. So just consider that as a possibility if you're interested in that. That's pretty much all I have for some the main tips. So let's jump into how to put this guy together. There are a number of different layered pieces in this project. So let me just start with the lamppost. By the way, before I cover all the pieces, I want to tell you that all of this can be cut from one piece of 12 by 20 MDF or whatever it is you choose. So you definitely don't need more than one piece unless you want to use different types of materials. Otherwise, it all comes from one piece. So here's the main lamppost. And as you see, first of all, the back piece, the back part of it that has the tab that goes into the slot is just the silhouette. And then you've got the top of the lamp here that goes there. You've got a crossbar. I'll go ahead and put these down while I'm doing this. A crossbar, the outside ring of the sign, and then this base that sits right like that. So here's a couple things I recommend. You can paint them whatever color you want, but specifically I would, right up here in this section, I would paint all of this up here yellow or maybe an orange because it simulates light coming out of it. So if you paint this yellow or orange, and then the rest of this whatever you want, then when you put this one over top of it, it makes it look like it's lit up there in the back. So that's one thing I do there. I would leave this raw like this because I think it looks great, but that's totally up to you how you want to do that. You can engrave anything you want on there, family name or whatever it is you want to say. And then the crossbar goes just like that. I think that looks great black. I think this piece looks great black, and honestly, you can do the whole thing black if you want. It's up to you, but that just gives it a little bit of depth, visual depth there. So that's how to do the lamppost. Set that off to the side there. Let's talk about Frosty. So once again, he's got a back piece here, and you want to engrave his smile, and then also the tassels that come off of his scarf. So make sure you engrave those. Don't cut those. You possibly could score them, but I think they look best engraved. So that's what the back part of him looks like. And then he's got a hat here, and it's a similar idea to the lamppost in that I think it looks great to have a piece of red going right through that part right there. So if you paint this area right up in here red, and then you paint his hat black and you put it on like that, it's going to look like he has a red band on his hat. So I would do that. And then, of course, the body of him is going to be white. Doesn't really matter what happens out on the arms because you're going to take these guys here and you're going to just glue them right on top just like that so that they look like sticks, okay? And then glue that one on just like that. Then his scarf, make sure you line it up with the tassels there, just like that. Glue that one on there. I think it looks great red, but again, you can do whatever color you want. Then the last few pieces you have, you've got his nose, carrot there, and then you've got 4 little circles, and 2 of them are his eyes. Obviously, he's going to be a little cross-eyed or something weird here because I'm just trying to hold it. And then 2 are going to be his buttons there down the middle. So that's all the pieces of Frosty. Okay, let's lay him off to the side. Not too many other pieces left here. We've got a couple sets of presents that kind of go in the background there. You can see them right over there. Paint those whatever you want. And now here's how this one works. This one's got a tab that fits into the base. And then this one is intended to be glued on top of it. But make sure you don't cover up the tab. So in other words, do it like this, if that makes sense. Don't do it like that because that'll cover up the tab. So paint them and then glue that on just like that so that tab is sticking out the bottom. And I'll show you how that works in just a moment. Then the last pieces we have are the trees. We've got the main Christmas tree there that goes in the back. Got a star that you will then glue right on top of there. I think that will look great yellow, but do what you want there. And then there's a whole bunch of larger circles that are intended to be ornaments. And you can just paint those and stick those on however you like. Then we've got the last 2 trees there. They can go on the left or right depending on what you want. Maybe this is overthinking, but here's how I was thinking when I designed it was I wanted to see the larger of the 2 small trees behind Frosty. Like I didn't want him to kind of dominate the look there. So if that makes sense, that was my thought, is to put the larger of the 2 behind him. So again, whatever appeals to you there. Then let's look at the base real quick. Move all these out of the way. So here's the base. Now, I want to remind you what I said in the opener. You can move these. First of all, you can put anything you want to in any one of these slots because they'll fit all of them, which is great. But also, another thing you can consider is you could add additional slots. Let's say you made a Mr. and Mrs. Snowman, or you wanted to add another sign, or maybe a deer, or just anything else you wanted to add. You can just copy and paste another slot and put it wherever you want. And as long as you make the base the same size on this new thing you're going to do, it'll fit in there just fine as well. Again, you can also move these around. If you want to put a message like I did, like Merry Christmas right there, you can do that. You'll just add your own text because the text is not included in here. You can add whatever you like. You can add a family name, a message, whatever you want. But if for some reason you want to move everything forward and create a different kind of spacing, just move these slots around. And then when you cut it, then you can put these wherever you want. So the rest of this is really straightforward, but I'll go ahead and do it anyway. So the lamppost goes right there. The large tree, if you'd like, can go right back there. Smaller of the 2 trees. In fact, I'm doing this in a silly order. Let me do it back here. There's your first set of presents. The second one, I'll just lean there, but you would glue them. There's the larger of the small trees, if that makes any sense. There's the small one. And there is Frosty right there. And then, of course, you got all your pieces that would be on there when you glued them and you painted them. I think you're really going to love this. I just can't wait to see what you guys do with them. Let me know if you have any questions, but this is a really straightforward project. Just make sure that you measure your material and compare it to these slots first. Should fit pretty well if you've got 1/8" material, but things vary. So check that before you do anything else. Let me know if you have any questions. But until then, as always, I'll see you in the next one. And oh, if it's around December, Merry Christmas.